The leopard, a big cat species adapted to varied habitats and diet, is found all the way from Africa through the Middle East to India and beyond. Historically, leopards in India have had a wide distribution, occurring everywhere except the high-altitude areas in the Himalayas and the Thar Desert in Rajasthan. But today, only a fraction of their numbers remain, in small pockets across the country. Decades of poaching, retaliatory killings, habitat loss, and lack of prey have taken their toll, and it is estimated that only 12 to 14,000 individuals survive in India today. As human populations have burgeoned, wildlife habitats have declined. And this is one of the reasons for the increase in incidence of leopards coming into contact with people in villages and sometimes even in cities. When this happens, there is chaos, and lack of information or detailed protocol and training in handling these situations can lead to loss of life or injury on both sides. To avoid incidents where either people or animals get hurt, there are steps that can be taken by the general public, officials from the Forest Department, and other agencies. When a leopard enters a closed area like a house, the first thing that should be done is to lock the room where the leopard is seen. Then, all openings such as windows and roof tiles should be closed with extreme caution. Nobody should be allowed near the building or to make loud noises. An attempt to force it out could lead to serious injuries. While keeping the leopard securely locked, inform the Forest Department and the police as soon as possible. Make a mental map of the house to explain to the authorities, and be ready with any information or equipment the authorities may require. On arrival, the first step that must be taken by the authorities is crowd control. Especially children and older individuals should be evacuated to at least 500 meters from where the leopard is. Any form of barrier, like a tape, can help in keeping the crowd away. In addition, regular megaphone announcements need to be made to request people to stay away from the scene. During this time, the animal must be tranquilized by veterinarians or trained personnel and removed from the building. If the leopard is found in an open area like a farm, it should not be approached at any cost. It should be allowed to remain in its hiding position. When the forest officials and police arrive, they should be shown signs of the animal, such as pug marks, which can help in confirming the presence of the leopard. Information on the surrounding wells, drains, and forest patches should be provided to the authorities. The authorities should cordon off the area from the crowd and wait till it gets dark for the leopard to return to where it came from. If the animal is in a farm or patches of vegetation that are connected to a forest and not densely surrounded by buildings, it is very likely that the animal will move away on its own if it is given space and time. The crowd should be educated that there would be no need to capture the animal in such a scenario. Leopards tend to fall into wells during the night, and if the situation is not handled with care, it can become very stressful for the animal. A crowd gathering around the well can cause anxiety to the animal and could also lead to serious injuries to people if the leopard manages to jump out. so crowds need to be managed effectively and kept away from the well at all times. A ladder with coir rope tied on its steps should be kept ready. It should be long enough to reach all the way to the bottom of the well. As darkness falls, the ladder should be lowered into the well, and the leopard will quietly come out sometime during the night and return to its habitat. No other tactics should be used to coerce the animal out of the well, including throwing stones or fire, as these can injure the leopard seriously. A leopard trapped in a well with water can present some unique problems. Any stress caused to the animal can result in drowning. The animal should not be tranquilized when it is in the well. After clearing the crowd, a wooden platform needs to be lowered into the well manually or with the help of a pulley. This is for the leopard to rest on while inside the well. As it gets darker, a rope and ladder should be lowered into the well, and the leopard should be given time to escape. Tying a noose around the neck or waist of the animal should not be done at any cost, as it could lead to strangulation or serious internal hemorrhage. If the leopard needs to be rescued, the well should be covered from all sides with a strong net, while making sure that there are no gaps through which the animal can escape and cause injuries to people. The ladder which is lowered into the well should lead to a cage at one end, which the leopard can climb into. Extreme care is necessary for this operation. Once caught in a snare or a trap, it can be impossible for a leopard to escape without help. In such situations, the rescue must be conducted very carefully, as any disturbance to the animal can potentially tighten the snare further, causing damage to intestines and other organs, leading to internal bleeding and ultimately death. Since 2009, snares have been responsible for the deaths of over 30 leopards in Karnataka alone. Essential materials like cutting pliers and a large net must be kept ready for the forest department and veterinarians. The veterinarian should tranquilize the animal to make it stop struggling with the snare. Once the animal is sedated, the snare should be carefully removed with the help of pliers, and the wounds caused by it should be treated. The cage to be used must be in good condition, without sharp edges or protruding nails and screws. Leopards have been known to seriously injure themselves from charging, biting, and clawing the metal cages. Once the leopard is in the cage, do not let onlookers get close or take photographs, as this could lead to the stressed animal charging and injuring itself against the cage. Any serious injuries to the leopard can permanently incapacitate it, and the animal may become unfit to be released back to the wild. To keep the leopard away from the commotion and to reduce stress, a tarpaulin should be used to cover the cage. In case the captured animal is a cub, it should be released immediately and observed from a distance until the mother reunites with the cub. Once a leopard is rescued or captured, it is not always possible for the animal to be released immediately. Sometimes, it might need to be transported to a release site close by or for treatment. In such a scenario, the cage must be tightly secured inside a vehicle that has sufficient fuel for the journey. A large tarpaulin should be used to cover the vehicle. There must always be an escort vehicle available, and the planned route should avoid cities and towns where possible. It is important to drive at low speeds, preferably below 50 kilometers per hour, and stopping the vehicle to display the animal should not be encouraged. In case the vehicle needs to be parked midway due to unavoidable circumstances, it should be done away from crowds and in the shade. A vet with medical supplies as well as sufficient water, additional ropes and nets should accompany the leopard. A leopard rescue is a complicated process. Along with coordination between various departments, having access to and using the right equipment for the rescue is essential. In areas where there is a high likelihood of the scenarios we have seen, the following equipment needs to be kept ready at all times. It is important to confirm the presence of a leopard in an area before any further steps can be taken. In some cases, the animal responsible for livestock loss may not even be a leopard. To avoid confusion and also to speed up the process of compensation, various methods of identification should be used to confirm the species responsible for the conflict. Certain signs, such as cat, pug marks and scrape marks on the ground can be used to identify the presence of a leopard. The size of pug marks can change depending on the type of ground, for example, loose soil, sand or hard soil. Sometimes, the pug marks of dogs can be mistaken by people as the marks of a leopard. There are differences in the pug marks of both animals which can be identified through careful inspection. Another way of confirming leopard presence is to recognize the ways in which a leopard eats a carcass. Look at 4 canine marks near the throat and observe the way the carcass has been eaten. Unlike a tiger, which mostly starts to feed from the hind part and avoids eating the viscera, a leopard eats the viscera and the rib cage. The first step to reducing conflict in any situation is awareness. Lack of knowledge about the leopard's behavior and basic precautionary measures lead to unintended consequences. In areas of high leopard presence, certain outreach activities can minimize incidents of conflict. People should be educated about leopard behavior and ecology, along with information that can help them handle situations where leopards enter their villages and farms. Livestock and poultry owners should be made aware to better protect their animals from leopard attacks. It is also useful to have a team of local volunteers who can quickly respond to conflict situations and provide assistance to the forest department. Finally, support from local leaders, elected representatives, and media must be gathered towards mitigating human-leopard conflict. Interactions between people and leopards in today's landscape is inevitable. Being the most adaptable cat has its advantages that it can survive in a human-dominated landscape. But increasingly, these interactions have become negative, with either the animal or people, or sometimes both, getting injured. Following simple measures that can help with dealing with these situations can prove to be a powerful tool in mitigating conflict between leopards and people. For more detailed information, refer to the manual, Safely Handling Situations When Leopards Enter Human-Dense Areas.